Hey everybody, how we doing out there? Great to have you here. Happy Sunday. So great to be here once again. What's going on, Lisa? How you doing? All right, we're going to get this thing going. This is going to be a great one today. We've got a lot of good info for you. And today we're really talking about the fact that will AI, artificial intelligence, replace human leaders? Okay, you've heard a lot out there being talked about this. And anywhere from that, the future presidents, future governors, future senators, people like that are going to be AI because, they don't have to worry about human emotions and making, greed and things like that, just making very, very sound decisions. And so we're going to explore a little bit about that. And we're going to see what it would take to make sure that you don't get replaced. What's going on, Steve? How you doing, man? Good to have you here. To make sure you don't get replaced in this AI era, okay? And without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to kick this thing off and roll right through it. It is a Sunday, and I appreciate you guys being here with me today, and so I want to respect your time as well. And so, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. Now, first of all, what you may wonder is, so Ben, why are you qualified to talk about leadership and about what it takes to actually make sure you have an edge in leadership, okay? So, for me, my background, many of you know, but if you don't know, if it's your first time watching me here and coming to the channel, then I'm a retired Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel, Marine Corps officer, was a commander at every level, served about 23 years, United States Marine Corps in combat, several tours in combat, in commanding combat operations, also in the complexity of back in the United States at training commands as well too, where I was, helping to create, train, lead, teach, motivate new Marines, reconnaissance Marines as well too. Then all the way to Command and Staff College, where I was actually on faculty there, and I was the leadership department head, where I taught operational planning, operational design, and also taught leadership, strategic leadership, operational level leadership, and just what are the character traits and the intangibles, and also the science of military operations, the science of leadership, and how do you successfully carry out a military operation. And in other words, as well too, any type of complex project you're trying to accomplish, it's really, really close to the same, okay? Except for sometimes in, major military operations, you got people shooting at you and trying to actually kill you, So, but in business, you got people trying to kill you too, trying to close your business and destroy you. So I've done that. And when I was at the Command and Staff College as the leadership department head, I also was responsible for leading training and setting up the curriculum for leadership for mid-grade military officers, majors, senior captains, major selected lieutenant colonel, those still operating and going back out to the Fleet Marine Force for the Marine Corps, whether it was the Army, we had Air Force students, we had international students, and also mid-level government officials as well too. So lots of different cats and dogs from the military, the interagency, and overseas as well too from our partners and allies. And so I really have done a lot of a deep dive for years, for basically my entire career, for about 23 years active duty as a Marine Corps officer, but then also at the Naval Academy too. They taught us a ton about leadership. And granted, you didn't have that much leadership practice other than your peers when you're in school at the Naval Academy, but we learned a lot of the theory, studied a lot of case studies, things like that to prepare us. So I take all of that and then my own experiences as a battalion commander, as you can see behind me in some of the paddles and the signs, things like that, where I commanded about 600 to 700 special operators, civilians, you name it, but in global worldwide operations for special operations, and which also included the difficulty of the logistics for the special operations, the manning, the training, the equipping, refit, rearm, supply, all those things like that. Supply was always a challenge as well too, but all those things that go into the complexity of leadership. So not just the charismatic leadership, follow me, which is significant, right? Moral courage, physical courage, all those things. But the complexity it takes to actually run a business, because as you ascend the ranks in the military too, you are more or less running an enterprise, which is funded, has a budget. In my case, I had a budget of about $190 million of sensitive equipment that I was in charge of, along with an operational budget and all those things. But there are a lot of different complex moving parts, which gave me a great appreciation for the nuances of leadership, and not just, like I said, the physical courage and the the leadership that was on the front lines, but you had to have the frontline leadership, and you also had to have the nuanced leadership of managing resources and managing and leading people to get the greatest effect and to lead, teach, and motivate and coach people to reach their best, to achieve an objective that had kind of a longer fuse on it. So it wasn't something that was immediate. Sometimes it was weeks, sometimes months, sometimes it was a multi-year project that you were stewarding as well too, okay? So let's go ahead and get right into this, and we're going to talk about, in this modern era with AI, how can you ensure that you won't be replaced? And will AI replace human leaders, okay? Well, the short answer is this, that AI is going to replace a lot of tasks in the near term, okay? The next 12 to 24 months, AI will change the way you lead, okay? It will change your leadership role no matter what you're in. If you're doing what I do, okay? If you're doing what you do out in your career, no matter what walk of life you're in, what industry you're in, AI is going to have an impact and change your role as a leader, okay? So we're going to talk about that. The thing is this, many people are saying that AI is actually going to go ahead and take away jobs, right? It's going to replace so many workers. And I think that's fair to say. I think it's very fair to say. And so how do you protect yourself as a leader? And I don't care if you're a small unit leader, you have a small group of people. Well, there are two fundamental things that I want to talk about that I think will make you very valuable in this AI age, okay, as a leader. Number one, we're going to talk about this, is empathy, building your empathy. Number two is really your judgment. How do you display better judgment? How do you train judgment? How do you train empathy? And we're going to talk about these things, okay? Number three, vision, understanding how to have a vision, how to shape a vision, share a vision. And number four, the power of purpose and being able to tie everything together through, linking intention and a deeper purpose to mission and tasks. And just what does that all entail? Okay, so let's get right into this right now, what I think is so important, and that is empathy. So no matter where you're coming from, appreciate you being here today. Got some people out there. Hey, Jill, how's it going? Good to have you here. Steve, what's going on? Lisa, and anybody else watching, hope you're all doing well. Let's talk about empathy right now, okay? So empathy, the three lenses of empathy. Number one, cognitive empathy. What does this mean? Okay, again, cognitive empathy means actually understanding another person's view, their point of view, their perspective. And understanding then next that this next lens of empathy is effective empathy, okay? Feeling with them, but not going so deeply into the feelings that you lose your boundaries and you don't drown in it, okay? So you're registering their emotions, you're understanding, you're listening with empathy, you're trying to feel and understand where they're coming from, okay? And then last is compassionate empathy. That means being moved to help while keeping your boundaries, keeping your judgment. And we're going to talk about judgment as well too. But these three lenses for empathy, okay, as just a starting point for us to talk about how do we build empathy, how do we train it, and then ultimately, how do we develop it to a point where we become valuable in the workplace? Because again, at the end of the day, leadership is about getting results, okay? It really is. But the ends do not justify the means. All right, so this is the big constraint. You have to get results, but you can't just get them any old way, right? And also, if you get results, but you destroy half your force, it becomes what we call a Pyrrhic victory, right? You need to rehire people. People are going to leave because you're a tyrant as a leader. Maybe you don't know how to hit those certain points that are going to get the best out of your people. And so all that's very important. Hey, Becky, how you doing? Great to have you here. So all that's very important, okay? And so let's talk about, again, how do we develop this empathy? So core empathy skills, some of these things. Number one, attention control. And I would tell you that it's really presence in the moment over preparation. So many times you will see people that will go into a meeting or they're trying to coach someone they lead, and they're so prepared for this, but they're on transmit the whole time, right? There's no empathy, there's no exchange, there's no listening and then communicating going on. They're merely just on transmit the whole time, okay? So when you prioritize presence in the moment, all right, and I talk about this in my coaching membership as well too. We talk about the 4 Ps, and then my members who watch this replay later, who are on there right now watching, you'll know what I'm talking about. But presence is absolutely so important. I talk about this with my one-on-one clients too. But understanding the tone, the way they're speaking, their body language. You've got to be very present in the moment. Don't worry about having a, awkward pause for a moment. If in that moment you're achieving understanding, okay? It may actually have the opposite effect that you think, where someone's actually going to feel more valued because you're not trying to rush through the interaction like it's transactional, okay? So very, very important. Attention control, again. Number 2, lead with your curiosity, okay, over your certainty. Like, it's this, and I know it's this, and this is how it is. You want to ask before assuming. You got to ask what's going on, all right? When you ask them how are they doing, really mean it. Don't brush past it. I'm doing terrible. Okay, that's good. And you keep moving, right? So when you ask, really mean it. Really be prepared to be present and listen to them and talk to them. But ask before assuming. And it's okay, again, to have that pause, to have that weird, awkward silence. Okay, the ambiguity is okay. You don't need to be so certain all the time. Because again, you may be tone deaf. You may be, sitting there just on transmit, totally tone deaf to what's going on, okay? And you are going to lose people. And again, this is how you protect yourself in the AI age as a leader. You have to develop empathy. You have to develop judgment, okay? And these two things. And we're going to talk really deeply about this today. How do we develop our core empathy skills? How do we develop our core judgment skills, okay? That will differentiate you from just someone who can get tasks done. Because soon, it's already happening right now through AI agents, but very soon, you're going to see so many different AI, AI agents embedded in back end of everything we do that, you won't be needed as much for those tasks as you will for your judgment, for your empathy, for leading a team of other people who are leading AI. Okay. So let's keep on going. Next, emotion labeling. You got to really get granular on this. Try to understand where they're coming from. Name what you hear. All right. Sometimes people feel uncomfortable naming what they hear. If someone seems frustrated, they feel afraid to actually say what they're feeling, okay, or what they're getting, what they're registering from that person. But it's okay to say, okay, you seem frustrated to me, not just saying you seem mad, right? You seem frustrated. You seem sad. You seem upset. Use really specific words in the case with that person. And if you're wrong, it's okay because they'll correct you. But again, what we're trying to do is to develop your core empathy skills to make sure people that you're leading, that you're in charge of, feel that you care, okay? Because the AI can fake the care, right? ChatGPT can fake caring. Siri can fake like it cares. So can Grok. Oh my gosh, my phone just activated when I said Siri. No, I don't need you, Siri. Stop. So funny. But it can't actually do it, all right? It's not going to actually be able to do what you do. And again, these more feeling, judgment, empathy, these type of really human skills and human traits are going to be more important than ever, all right? And then also connecting with the people you lead is so important. You're going to have to be a little bit vulnerable. It's going to feel weird. They might be surprised. Wow, he or she's, you're actually acting like you care. I didn't know, okay? And again, it doesn't mean that you're not acting like a leader. It doesn't mean you're changing the relationship. It doesn't mean you're sharing too much, overly sharing. It doesn't mean that you're dropping your boundaries, okay? It just means you're doing these things that AI can't do. And again, we're talking about adapting to the age of AI or getting replaced, right? Okay, perspective switching. Be able to argue their best case as well as they would. When you deeply understand their position, all right, it's a game changer because people will really, really listen to you more when you can actually see their point of view and be able to turn the map around, so to speak, and see it from where they're standing and explain it even better than they can, okay? That's right, Bishop, exactly. True. Even the genius asks questions. That's right, for sure. You got to be able to ask the right questions. But perspective switching is very important. Get out of your own perspective. See it from their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes. It's as simple as that. Next, reflective listening. This is another core empathy skill, okay? Play back what they're saying to you. What have they told you? Play it back for a minute in your own words. This is a great technique to show that you actually care, okay? And say it also what you heard, but it seems like they're feeling. And I'm telling you, even when you're tired, okay? Even when you're tired, even when you feel like, I don't feel like I really get what they're saying, just try. When you just try, people oftentimes, they can feel it, all right? Because a lot of times people want to know how much you care. They don't want to know how much you know, all right? Especially in the age of AI. AI knows how to do so many tasks and is going to be replacing a lot of these lower level tasks and taking it out of our hands. And so the person that can actually lead really effectively, lead people, and also know how to lead people who are leading and using AI is going to be that much more valuable, okay? But it's going to take you really upgrading your skills and empathy and in judgment. And in fact, for executives, these are core skills that are so important. You have to be able to have empathy and have, core empathy skills at a very high level, and your judgment has to be extremely high level, okay? Because that will impact the bottom line. There are a lot of recent studies that have come out showing that there's a 30 or 40% bottom line impact from frontline leadership, okay? And the front line can be all the way at the C-suite as they lead their 4 or 5 direct reports, or it can be all the way down to the junior management level. But the bottom line is this: one of the most important things will be getting your people to perform at their best will be through your empathy skills, okay? Your empathy skills and your judgment. And that's why we're doing this. Next, your boundaries, okay? You need to understand that just because you understand where they're coming from and you understand what they're saying and you show that you understand what they're saying, it doesn't mean you're dropping your boundaries, okay? You've got to still maintain some distance as a leader. You have to be able to maintain your professionalism. You need to maintain, your stance on policies, all those things like that. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself probably out of a job, honestly, all right? Or else getting in some trouble too. If you lower your boundaries that you need to have in place as a leader, people can take advantage of you as well too, all right? So it's empathy without losing, dropping your boundaries. It's empathy without losing your judgment. It's very, very important, okay? And that's why people rise to higher ranks when they have higher core empathy skills. When they actually display better judgment, you are set to go to a higher level, okay? Because you really understand the human terrain so well, and you can lead, teach, motivate, influence, and enable and empower the highly valuable human workers that remain. Okay, you see where I'm getting at? The people who are still going to be in these organizations, they are going to be at an elite level or highly skilled level or very valuable. They're going to be there for a reason. All right, mark my words. Next 12 to 24 months, you're going to see jobs will be replaced 100%. But the better you are able to lead, it's going to keep you in a very valuable position. And that's why we're doing this, okay? And again, any questions you have, throw them in the chat and we will get to them in a couple minutes here. Okay, some field-tested protocols to use for developing empathy. There's a tactical empathy loop. Basically, it's what I told you about repeating back what you hear, okay, with also identifying the feelings that you hear as well too. But really what we can call this is label, reflect, and validate, okay? So you want to label what the problem is, what the situation is, be very reflective and deeply understanding what it is, and you're validating the person who told you, okay? The employee who told you, your teammate, it could be a family member as well too, all right? So like, for example, you're labeling, okay, sounds like you're under a deadline and you feel really boxed in, okay? You're labeling exactly what you hear. And if you have it wrong, it'll be a conversation and they'll tell you. But the bottom line is you're getting them to open up, getting them to trust you. You're building trust, which is huge as well too. When you reflect, you're reflecting on this, say, okay, you're saying the new process that we have adds too many steps, for example, and it puts the entire job at risk, okay? And then you validate it, right? You say, okay, I understand what you're saying, and given that you think it's putting the whole project at risk, makes total sense. I see what you're saying. Let's make sure we protect the job, protect the bottom line, right? Protect the profit, and we still meet the deadline that's coming up, okay? Can we do that? And a lot of the times you're going to get, someone will either say, yeah, you're right, okay, you can see what I'm saying, but I think we can still make it, or maybe if I have these extra resources, I could do it better. But you're going to create a conversation, they're going to feel heard, and you're going to remotivate, re-energize this individual to keep on going, which is your job, okay? Which is your job as a leader, all right? Another little script to use too that's very useful is the observation, feeling, need, and request script, okay? So when, let's say something goes wrong, you miss a deadline, okay? When someone misses a 3 p.m. cutoff time, okay? There's an observation. I noticed we missed the 3 p.m. cutoff time. I'm feeling really concerned about this. This is you as a leader, all right? Just as an example. And you want to state, why are you feeling concerned without blaming them and attacking them, okay? Because the reason why is we need to make the clients feel that they're a priority, and we need to seem reliable for the clients. That's why I'm so concerned that we missed this deadline. You're tying in the purpose, the intention, you're tying in the mission, all these things without immediately blaming them, okay? And so then you put in a request. Well, do you think that we can get this? Can we reach out to the client, tell them what happened, and then get it to them tomorrow? Okay, so that way you do it in a professional way that keeps everything objective. They recognize that they're wrong, they missed the 3 p.m. deadline, but you also don't crush them and burn the bridge and destroy them, right? Now, I mean, obviously, if they miss another deadline, you're gonna have to look at a performance improvement plan, okay? So a PIP program, something like that. But especially when you have some proven team members, when things go wrong, if you just start flipping out and you start burning your leadership capital, you're making withdrawals from the emotional bank account. I think as Stephen Covey used to talk about the emotional bank account, you're going to lose them, okay? And again, like I said, AI will replace most things, most tasks, many people. But if you're able to manage and lead and motivate and empower other people in this way, a team of people, you remain in position as being very valuable. And all those people may be the ones running the AI, okay? And obviously you may have AI too in your dashboards, things like that, to help you lead the organization, however big or small it is, or a small business. But you still have to have a high degree of empathy skills and know how to lead with, your attention span intact, your own emotional regulation and discipline. Because if you don't, you're gonna get rid of good people. And when you lose good people in this day and age, they're going to go somewhere else, okay? And it's going to cost you to rehire people, retrain, all those things like that. And again, as I go back to every time I've said before, every major problem in business or in leadership of any kind is a people problem. Even in the age of AI, you're still going to need people, and it's going to be a people problem, okay? I'm telling you. Maybe 100 years from now, fast forward, some things will change. But for right now, in the next 24 months that I can see, you're going to still have to be dealing with people problems, okay? And so you have to get good at leading, and empathy. Your core empathy skills are crucial for this, okay? Hey, Jasmine, what's going on? How you doing? Okay. Let's keep on rolling here. Again, any questions you guys have, put them in the chat. Put them in the chat. Okay. Next, another empathy protocol. Again, I'm trying to give you guys some things that you can take away and use on your own, and you can call it whatever you want to call it. But this next one is really, it's called a scarf check, okay? Basically, you want to make sure that you're not threatening their status, their certainty, their autonomy, their relatedness, or their fairness, okay? So all those things. So how do you preserve their status, their certainty, their autonomy? You're not threatening any of these things while still delivering the message you need, okay? And it seems like common sense, but there's sometimes, when you're under pressure, you haven't been sleeping, which is another thing for judgment, talking about developing judgment. You want to take a breath and take a pause if you're exhausted, you're hungry, you're tired, before you start coaching and counseling someone, because you may say something you can't take back, okay? And it could ruin your leadership position as well too. So how do you preserve their status, their certainty, their autonomy, their relationship with you, and the fairness of the situation while still delivering a strong message? In some cases, a strong message, okay? One of the ways to do this is to disagree without disrespecting them. Very simple, okay? And again, some of this may seem like common sense, but as a leader, when you have a lot of complex things going on, and let's say you have a senior leader over you, or a boss over you, who doesn't practice these things, who doesn't exhibit emotional regulation, and they're blasting you, you don't want to turn around then and let the crap roll downhill and blast the person below you. You want to shield them a bit as best you can and still practice your very best leadership skills. Again, because like I'm saying, as AI grows and gets more embedded in everything we do, the people who will be best protected and the most valuable in the workplace, the leaders, will be those that understand, have high degree of empathy, understand how to employ empathy, deploy empathy as well too, and develop their empathy skills to use in leadership situations, okay? While also not getting run over. Empathy plus judgment, okay? Plus boundaries, all those things. So one of the ways we do this is called steel manning. All right. You can disagree without disrespecting them. So when we steel man, you're going to go ahead and state their argument, their case better than they did. You want to be able to state the case better than even they did. Okay. And they're going to be surprised when you really start arguing their case for them, showing how, showing that you really understand it. They'll be like, yeah, that's right. Get them saying yes. Okay. This one thing's very important. They get them saying yes. Yes. Every time they're saying yes, that's absolutely it. You know that you are on track and you're understanding them and they feel valued. They feel seen. They feel heard. And I can't tell you the outsized impact this will have on their performance and their trust in you when you come back with a big ask sometime. Okay. Like, hey, we got to do this. I know it just came down. It's a huge deadline. We got to do it. We're going to have to work overtime on this. Overtime without pay a lot of times, okay? And when you've built up that trust, you show you understand, you show you care, they're going to do it for you because they're going to know, they're going to trust you to think, okay, they wouldn't ask for this unless it was absolutely necessary, okay? And then when you're stating their case better than even they can, you want to say as well, did I get that right? Okay? Did I get that right? And they'll tell you if you did or you didn't. They'll say, no, actually it was this. Okay. I can't tell you how many times I've done that when I've been really tired and I'm trying my best to understand where someone's coming from and my mind is just melted, okay? But I try to repeat it back to them and say, did I get that right? And they say, almost. This is what it is. And in that moment, I really get it, okay? And when you really get it, your light bulb goes off. They see it. Their light bulb goes off. And you build trust, okay? And, another great book is The Speed of Trust. But organizations perform better when you have a high trust organization, a high trust team. You reduce a lot of friction, okay? And you can even say something like this. Okay, the strongest case for your position, X. Okay, the strongest case for your position is X because of Y. Do I have that right? Yeah, you got that right. Okay, I see. Now let me tell you why Z still concerns me. I'm still concerned about Z. Then you add a whole new thing in there. Now you understand their position. Now they're really going to be ready to try to understand where you're coming from. And these high empathy skills, this high empathy protocol, okay, where you can disagree without disrespecting and also represent their case even better than they can, build so much trust. These are real tactical leadership skills that'll make a big difference for you, okay? And it's great as well too when you're feeling the stress, you're feeling angry, deadlines are passing, maybe you're getting blasted by, a boss or by shareholders or by the board, depending on what level you're at, okay? All these things are possible by customers, by clients. But you don't want to destroy your team by becoming deregulated and dysregulated and discombobulated, whatever you want to say, okay? By your emotions just running amok over you and you screwing up and saying something crazy to people or hurtful or disrespectful, okay? Where you affect their status, their certainty, their psychological safety. People say a lot today as well too. Their feeling of autonomy that you're going to micromanage them, the relationship they have with you or with others in the team, or fairness, okay? So there are ways to do this even when people go on a streak of performing poorly. There are ways to lift people back up, empower them, while also maintaining respect for them, okay? Which will keep your respect in the team. Because I got news for you. The days of blasting someone on the team and getting rid of them, you can still do it. But I'm going to tell you, other people on the team may really like that person and respect the person that you just did that to. And your stock is going to go down with everybody else, okay? I've seen it so many times. And so now you think you were doing the right thing by reinforcing culture, by blasting someone, okay, or disrespecting them. And even if you didn't raise your voice, if you just did something disrespectful or something that wasn't in the best practices that the culture of your business and your company, your team has been doing for a long time, without explanation, you switched it up and did something disrespectful, right, to them. You are going to lose the other people on the team. And you may get people that just leave, okay? I think we see that regularly playing out at all kinds of levels, right? So again, it's okay to disagree and you can disagree. Just don't disrespect people as you do it, okay? Maintain your position. You'll be more respected as a leader, as a long-term leader, to build a durable organization if you do that, okay? Any questions in the chat before I drive on? Let's see. What's going on, Paul? How you doing? I'm doing great, Jasmine. Thank you. Okay, so now do I agree the AI will never match human? I mean, I don't know about that, Joe. I'm saying the next 12 to 24 months. I don't I would say never is, anytime I hear never, I don't agree. I think it's a possibility. I would say in the future, yeah, I would say they probably will, right? There are a lot of reasons to think that. But I think the next 12 to 24 months, I mean, until Grok or until Gemini can actually make me a thumbnail that says unstoppable and it's spelled correctly, I don't believe it'll take over the world. But if you look at where we were this time last year to where we are now, it's crazy how fast it's growing. But I agree with you that that empathy, judgment, all these really human things are going to be fairly untouchable, again, for the next 12 to 24 months, probably until 2030-ish, 2030-ish, I'd say. But definitely for the next 2 years. That's my opinion. And to be a better leader, learn this empathy, learn judgment, know how to deploy it, employ it, use it, weave it into everything you do, because just getting things done won't be good enough anymore, because the AI will be doing that in spades, be crushing 100%. Let me see. This you're giving is all about EI. Kind of, yes. I think. Maybe. I don't know. Some of it. Okay, so the next thing I want to say that's very important, okay, is that you want to drill the empathy. How can you improve in empathy? So there are a few different ways to do it. One thing I said is that you can practice disagreeing without disrespecting, being able to do the label, reflection, validation, okay, say what you think's going on, reflect on it, repeat it back to them, with also, saying what you think the emotions are of it as well too, the reasons why, saying their own argument even better than they can, right? Defending and arguing their position even better than they can, if that's possible. Sometimes people can do it better than you can, but to your best of your ability, and validating what they're saying. Another thing to do is something called ORS, okay? It's called a listening ladder, ORS, okay? Asking an open-ended question, all right? Then affirm something that they're saying. So ask a question, listen to it, affirm what they're saying. Okay, that's the validation part as well too. Reflecting on a key phrase that they've said. Reflect on it, repeat it back to them, discuss it with them, okay? ORS, open-ended question, affirm what they're saying, reflect on a certain key phrase they said, and then you want to be able to summarize the next steps, okay? Next steps from this. So again, another quick tool you guys can use, it's a daily empathy drill you can do, ORS again, okay? One more time. Open-ended question, ask an open-ended question, affirm something real that they've said. You want to go ahead and reflect on a key phrase that they said, and then summarize what you think the next steps should be, and do it with them, okay? This is going to help you to develop these skills, these empathy skills. Some people naturally know how to do this because they grew up in a family like this. Other people did not. Other people did not have a lot of empathy at home, okay? And I'm fully aware of that, right? And so you have to know where you're at, and if you don't know, ask people around you. If they feel that you show a lot of empathy, people will tell you. I think, if you have some trusted people, you can always use a peer review, things like that, and people can tell you, okay? But it'll make you more valuable, again, overall. So any other questions right now before we move on to this next one? Okay. Let's see. Whoa, boy. Wow. Yep. Mecca. I don't know. Interesting. Oh, if you mean for Grok. Yes. Who knows? Who knows with Grok, what happened there? So before we go into judgment, as always, I've got a word from our sponsors. Fantastic sponsor we have right now. And yes, you guessed it. It is the Ben Pappas Company. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about what I have going on. All right. If these things are resonating with you, okay, if you are very interested in developing leadership in yourself and in your team and your organization, if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, okay, the link is in my bio. You can schedule and apply for a no-fee one-on-one discovery and strategy session with me for a no-fee 1-hour session where we can talk about a strategy and how to improve your leadership, improve your team, all those things. And then also just improving your overall performance as well too. So I'm open for one-on-one individual coaching right now, and also open for team development, leadership development, all those things. So again, if you're looking to work with me, the link is in my bio. Go ahead and fill out the link to schedule that one-on-one discovery session, no fee, 1 hour discovery and strategy session with me. And we will figure out what is going on and come up with a great plan and how to attack it and to level up you and your team this year. Okay. And if you're wondering as well too, I also do keynote speeches. I do keynote talks, inspirational speaking, all of those things like that. Just write to me, or you can reach out to me at benpappas.com, my website, or hit me up at ben@benpappas.com. Again, my email is ben@benpappas.com, and just reach out to me there as well too. And we will find a plan and a way to level you up and tackle whatever you're dealing with right now. Okay. And on another note, if you're not ready for that type of deep dive immersion in one-on-one coaching, or, coming in to do leadership development for you and your team, I strongly advise you, if this is resonating with you and you want to go a little bit deeper, okay, you want to get more out of it, take a look at my Ferocious Optimist coaching community and membership, okay? The link is in the bio. We do a live monthly group coaching call every month, and that goes usually on the third Friday of every month, or Saturday, depending on what the community is feeling for that week. I canvass the community and see what will work. And so what do? We talk about how to make a breakthrough, how to get through and get to your next level. We have a membership success path, and we cover a lot of the things that you see inside my lives and inside my YouTube channel, okay? But really, we deep dive it because, again, free content like this is awesome. You're going to get a lot out of it. I really try to provide the best content I can. But within the membership itself, you can replay it as many times as you want. You also do have a live Zoom coaching call with me on the coaching membership call, which is a live Zoom call. So we're interacting. You're live with me. I can see you. I can hear you. Where you can ask questions. I do a Q&A for about an hour at the end of the session. And I also hang that replay up in the members area. You won't find it anywhere else. It's not posted on YouTube, not posted on Instagram, anywhere else. That's only exclusively in the members area, where also the Q&A is posted as well too. And you also get my notes. You get my presentation that I make for each and every group coaching call. That's going to be in the members area as well too. And you go ahead and you can download that and use it as you see fit. Okay. And if you use it for something else, just please give me credit. All right. But it's a fantastic coaching membership, and the monthly group coaching call with Q&A is amazing. I teach for about an hour and 15 minutes. And the Q&A can go for over an hour sometimes, okay, where I'm going to answer every question you have. And a lot of the times, what's really cool, because we have some amazing people within the community, is that during the Q&A, other people will jump in to coach you as well too, okay? So after I get done giving you what I think, my best strategies, I'll ask other people in the group, does anybody have anything else to share on this, or to any advice to offer, or so-and-so? And they'll come in as well too, because we have some amazing people who have done some great things. And they'll also offer some of their life experiences. And having been a part of masterminds myself in the past, I've found that to be so effective, where you have this community around you that all of a sudden you have, 5, 10 people all working on your problem for a space of 15 or 20 minutes, trying to give you advice and ideas. And they may see things differently and more powerfully than anyone else does, or all together, you may really take something away that you can action as soon as you get off the call. And I've just heard so many great things about the impact that's had on them. And of course, within the coaching membership, you also have the community, and that's a daily interactive program and platform where you can DM me. I can coach you through the DMs every day. There's Q&A. You can DM the other members in the community as well too. It's a really great, positive, supportive community that will help you to level up, and everybody's trying to get to their next level this year and beyond. And so if you don't have a supportive community around you, you don't have a coach or a mentor leading you, I strongly recommend you go check out my Ferocious Optimist coaching membership and community, or as we call the Ferocious Optimist movement, as we call it as well too, okay? It's $87.99 per month. It's my most accessible coaching program that you can get into. And but I definitely will coach you every day. You DM me every day, and you will get results. It'll be fantastic. All right, the link is in the bio for all those things. It's also will be in the first comment after this live. I'll put it in a pinned first comments, and the first comment for pretty much all of my content on YouTube. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram as well too, or leave me a comment or email me at ben@benpappas.com, and we will get after it and help you make your breakthrough and start that transformation and make the change you want to happen in your life. All right, that's a word from our sponsors. We're driving on right now. Any questions, throw it in the chat. And like I said, if you have any questions about that, please feel free to DM me also on Instagram, and we will see how we can help you, okay, how I can help you create that change you're looking for this year. Okay, so moving on here. We are rocking and rolling. Developing judgment, okay? Developing judgment is absolutely crucial. We talked about developing your core empathy skills. Obviously, you're going to need this. It's an inherently human thing. Now, when I was the leadership department head at the Command and Staff College in Quantico, Virginia, like I told you guys in the very beginning, teaching mid-grade military officers from the United States, all services, and across the world, partners and allies that were there, international officers, and also mid-level government officials as well too. We really, really, really emphasize judgment, okay? And then also as a military officer, as a Marine Corps officer, one of the things we were judged on regularly was our judgment. We were judged on our judgment, okay? And to the point that it's an actual very important block on our fitness report, what your judgment was. Why? What's the justification for giving someone a high mark in judgment, okay? And so it was always pushed on us that you had to have a real rubric for the way you made decisions. It wasn't just by your gut. And we're going to talk about that now, because gut instinct is usually the result of having done something for a decade, thousands of times, okay? And, you can trust your gut on a lot of things, but when you're making a decision in a complex environment as a leader, I want you to listen to your gut, but I also want you to have data to back it up. And we're going to talk about that, okay? So how do you develop judgment? Where does it come from? Well, number one, your values and intent. What outcomes matter the most, right? What are they going to matter the most? And then what's off limits? That's equally important. What you'll never do is equally as important as what you have to do, okay? To show judgment and to exercise good judgment. Context mapping, knowing what's going on, okay? What is the situation? What game are you in? Is it simple? Is it complicated, complex, chaotic? What is the context? The very first thing in the military decision-making process or the Marine Corps planning process is problem framing, okay? And the problem framing, first of all, we build our understanding of the context. What's the situation? And also in the military orders process, the S in SMEAC, which is SMEAC, okay, my military people out there, the first part of the military orders process, SMEAC, is situation. And in this situation, we're trying to look at what is the enemy's situation? What is their composition? How many are there? What kind of gear do they have? What equipment? What kind of threat are they? What's their most probable course of action? What's their most likely course of action? Okay, what's the most dangerous course of action? What's the weather going to be like? How dark is it going to be tonight? Okay, moonrise, moonset, sunrise, sunset, all these things. You need to know your operating environment. What game are you playing? What game is your opponent playing? Okay, if you don't know that, you're going to make a decision in a vacuum, and it probably won't be the right one. And it probably won't have the long legs of success that you need for a long-term good decision, okay? Probabilistic thinking is next. You want to be able to convert your hunches into percentages to understand the risk involved. How sure are you of your assumptions, the things that you're assuming are true, okay? What are you basing your decisions on? So you want to have some kind of percentage of that, okay? Have a percentage understanding that it's 90% sure, 50% sure, okay, 25% sure. Or you could say low probability, medium probability, high probability. You can use all those things. But understanding in a complex decision-making environment that you have to be able to have an idea of just what exactly you're basing your judgment on when you pull the trigger on the decision, okay? When you go ahead and make the decision, all right? We're going to talk more about this. So convert your hunches. Yeah, I think it's this. Well, you think it's this how much? 90%? Are you 100%? 90%? 50%? 40%? Where are we? You ever seen somebody who's like, yeah, I think this is going to go well. How sure are you? I'm like 50-50. Well, I mean, that's not that good, right? That's a crapshoot. Who knows? Okay, probably worse than a crapshoot. Then you want to be able to select the right model, okay? The right model based on the context, based on the terrain, based on the situation, based on the people that are involved in this, okay? So what is, for example, what is the base rate? In other words, what usually happens? What can be expected to happen? Expected value, what can be expected to happen? What usually happens in situations like this, right? Like a case study, when we make this decision, okay? What often happens, what often doesn't happen, okay? What usually works, what doesn't work. Make sure you have some data or a case study to back this up. And again, we're talking about building your value in the workplace, in a high-powered business environment. I don't care if it's your own small business. I don't care if it's, a startup environment. I don't care if you're in a corporate job or you're in a big organization. As you start to take on risk to make a decision, you gotta base this off of case studies and data, okay, and not just your gut. Because I hate to say it, but because everybody likes to say this, trust your gut. Always trust your gut. Oh. As was said to me once by one of my guys, what if my gut's wrong, sir? I said, that's a good point. So you want to have some corroborating evidence, okay? Because maybe the gut you're feeling is fear, right? And maybe the fear is making you not make a decision. All those things, okay? And maybe you don't have enough experience yet to have a gut instinct on this thing, okay? And your gut could be you're just nervous and queasy and sick. And so you're like, let's not do it, run away, right? When really you should be launching forward and going. Or you're so crazy brave, you're saying, let's go, when really, you're probably going to lose. So again, that's why I say, it's so important to lead with your head and follow through and have the passion and push through with your heart. Both of those things, okay? So look at data, not just your gut instinct. Ask yourself this: is this a clear situation? Is it repeatable? Can we do it again? Okay? Is it a messy situation we're getting into? But it's a learnable messy situation. It's complex, messy, but we can learn it. Okay? If it's complex and messy, do a small test. Again, like Jim Collins said, fire bullets first and then cannonballs. So important. Okay? Is this high stakes and hard to do? Right? Are we going to be in trouble once we do it? And so as you do this, as you're making a decision, you want to look at your decision hygiene. Clear away the noise. You got to clear away the noise, okay? And separate the biases out as well too. Separate the analysis that you're doing from someone like someone who's trying to influence you to do it a certain way. It's always that way. Every time you're a decision maker, you're trying to make a decision, you're trying to prepare to make this decision. Someone's whispering in your ear, whether it's an email, it's a text, it could be your kids, it could be all these things, but trying to tell you to do it a certain way. You got to find a way to quiet the noise, to reduce the bias, quiet the noise, be as objective as you can, okay? Look at the probabilities to back up your hunch. So is it a low probability of certainty, a medium probability of certainty, or a high probability of certainty? Where is my certainty level on these things that impact this decision, okay? And then when you make a decision, you want to track the outcomes. And then as soon as possible, you need to recalibrate, iterate. That means do it again, improve, improvise, adapt, overcome, do it again, improve, make it again, okay? Update what your assumptions are, all those things like that. Because contrary to popular belief, once you make the decision, it's not over, okay? I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say that. Well, we make the decision, it's over, we're going. No, you're not, okay? When you make the decision, you start going, the feelers are out, you're evaluating, trying to see, okay, our interaction with the marketplace right now, what feedback is coming back? How many people are buying, okay? What is the feedback? What are the comments we're getting, right? What's the stars? How many stars are we getting for feedback, and a star rating, for testimonials, things like that. When you're in combat, right? Where are we encountering resistance? Are we discovering an enemy? Are we getting shot at? All these different things. Are we meeting success right away? Are we burning more fuel than we thought we would? You need to track the outcome that's happening right then and there once you make the decision and you go forward and you're actually operating. Do not just go and just forget everything. We're going all the way. Track the outcome, recalibrate, learn on the fly, okay? And improve your process and what you're doing, okay? All right. Any questions right now as I'm rolling? I know I'm rolling pretty fast here. Hey, Joe, what's going on, man? Good to have you here, Joe Saunders. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Good to have you. What's up, John? Good to have everyone here. Okay. So 30-second decision-making judgment checklist. Let's talk about this, okay? First things first. When you're making a decision, all right, you need to ask yourself, is it reversible? Okay? Is this decision reversible? We're looking at risk, right? Are we making this decision, is this decision going to be reversible? Is it a two-way door? Is it a one-way door? Meaning, is it like a revolving door? We went in, we could take a look in the lobby, and we can come right out again, right? Less risk involved. Is it a one-way door? Like once we go in, it's going to be hard for us to turn back around and come out again, okay? You really have to look at the decision. Is this a reversible decision, okay? Is it reversible? Can I change it? If I can, how quickly? How much is it going to cost me to do this? All these things like that. So you got to understand that. Is it, what's the cost of making the decision, first of all? Next, what is the base rate? In other words, what usually happens in other situations similar to this when we make this decision, when we do this thing, okay? When we start, what usually happens, okay? All things being equal, if we are trying to set the conditions in the environment, just like another case study we've observed, okay? What usually happens? For example, let's say you're launching a new product or service. You've got, $10 million for advertising spending. You've got celebrity endorsements with each with 2 or 3 million followers, 5 million followers. You've got time blocks across regular TV, across traditional media. You've got, huge ad spend on social media, just like another product that was similar to it that was launched, and they did whatever, 50 million in revenue, okay? Can you expect the same thing if all things are basically the same, except the label on your product, the taste is a little different, let's say it's a beverage, okay? Or, the look of it's just a little bit different. Can you expect a very similar thing? Probably, right? Probably. There's still risk. But once you pull that trigger and you start spending, can you fire the bullet first before the cannonball? Can you do a small test first so that you don't commit all the resources only to discover that you were wrong? Okay? You have to know what the average outcome is. This is what we're talking about, the EV, the expected value. Okay, the math of this. What's the expected value? And then, what's my small test or stop rule? When you do small test, you do the stop rule, meaning, okay, if X is still less than Y by the end of the month, we stop, okay? If, or you do A/B testing. In YouTube, they do A/B testing all the time. In movies, things like that. Movie poster 1 versus movie poster 2. Thumbnail 1 versus thumbnail 2. Title 1 versus title 2. What do people prefer? Okay, I do that on YouTube sometimes. I have 2 or 3 different thumbnails that'll pop out there. So if you see me multi-posting sometimes, whether it's on, YouTube or on LinkedIn, or you see 2 or 3 different thumbnails for things on YouTube that you thought you already saw, that's A/B testing. I'm trying to see what's working right. Okay, and so I say the same thing for you to do out there. Have a tripwire. When you make this decision, maybe you let it run for a week, okay? For example, you got a kid. All right, the kid's like, I want to drive the car. I want to drive your brand new Porsche. I want to drive it. You're like, oh, hell no. Please, please, please. Okay, you're like, I'm just making this up, right? Brand new Porsche. I'm just whatever. Just making something up right now. Okay, I want to be able to do this. And I promise everything will be good. You're like, all right, I'm going to test them out and see if they still do all their chores. They still do all the crap they're supposed to do. I'm going to wait till Friday. But if they don't take out the garbage, they don't do the dishes, they don't get their homework done, they're not bringing home good grades, this extra bull crap that they want to do, it's canceled, right? We're done. It's canceled. Boom. So if X is still less than Y by Friday, I'm cutting off the advertising spending. I'm cutting off the Porsche driving. I'm cutting off the going out at night. Okay? All these things, right? I really want to eat chips and drink beer every night, and I know I can still lose the weight if I eat nachos and drink my favorite beer every night. Okay, let's test it out. I'll give you by Friday. You don't drop 2 pounds by Friday, then you stop, right? Lo and behold, Friday comes, you gain 3 pounds, it's over, okay? Everybody see where I'm going with this? So 30-second decision-making matrix or judgment checklist, okay? Again, is it reversible or not? Is it a reversible decision? Can you easily turn it back around? No? Okay, what usually happens in a similar situation when we make this decision? Okay, what's the average outcome if if all the assumptions are basically the same as another case study? What's the expected value? Do some math on it, okay? Attach probabilities. What's my small test or stop rule? Okay, again, like I told you, the tripwire by Friday. I'm cutting off funding. We're stopping that thing that we're doing. We're no longer going to drive the Porsche all every day. We're no longer going to let the kid go out at night because everything's changed. We're not going to eat the nachos and drink the beer, okay? So you got to have a tripwire as well, too, to where you change, okay? And again, any questions you guys have, put it in the chat, and we will get to it. That's it, Steve. Yep, you're right. You're right about that. Right, I see what you're saying there, Steve. I 100% agree with you, 100%. If you saw the South Park episode, right, that I had this past week, where Randy was saying to his daughter, she's like, I don't want you to be a loser and go to college. I want you to go call the local handyman and see if those rich people will take you on as an apprentice, right? But you're right, Steve. These are the hard, durable skills that AI won't be able to touch for the near term, right? Eventually, do we think a robot won't be able to do some of these things? Yeah, it will. But for right now, that's what they're saying. Like a plumber is going to be in high demand. And who knows? Keep your eye on the pulse. As leaders, we need to see what's going on, the changes out there in the context in the world, right? In our operating environment. Maybe things will change. So you got to keep your ear down to the tracks, your finger on the pulse, and your eye on the situation. Test and measure, 100%, Steve, all the way. All right. So now I want to talk to you guys about the 5 lenses to run on every consequential call, every important call you're going to make. The consequential calls meaning every important decision you're going to have to make. These are 5 lenses that you want to look through, okay? So put the decision through these 5 lenses, okay? And this is something that I work on with people, one-on-one clients as well too, and as the situation dictates. But number 1, we talked about this already, reversibility. Is it a 2-way door or a 1-way door, okay? Can we undo this thing if it's wrong? That's number 1, okay? Next, number 2, magnitude and tail risk, meaning how bad could it get? Oftentimes, you will see people in startups, and tell me in the chat if you think I'm right about this, okay? I'm so glad, Lisa. I'm glad it helps. And so again, I see this in startups a lot too, and I see it in people with startups or wishful thinking. They don't look at how bad it can get. They're looking at the upside. What's the potential upside? What's the minimum we could make? How bad could it get? What's the magnitude of making this decision? What's the negative potential in this decision? What is the long-term risk, okay? From tip to tail, right? All the way through, meaning from the beginning of it to the end, and then the second and third order effects that could happen, okay? Look at the worst believable downside, not just the average. What is the worst possible situation that could happen? Then add 10% to that, okay? I know some people say this is pessimistic thinking, but you guys know me. I'm the ferocious optimist, right? Ferocious means we have a combat mindset. I'm prepared for the worst case scenario. Unlike a regular optimist who just always sees everything great, it's going to be great. I don't, okay? I look at the threat squarely. I see, okay, the threat's going to be even 10% worse than I think the worst threat, and we're going to hedge for it. We're going to budget for it. We're going to have a war chest for it. We're going to have flexibility, maneuverability. I'm going to have my strategic reserve in place for it, and then we're going to go. So we don't get knocked out of the freaking game. So we win, okay? So it's very, very important that you look at the total magnitude of the decision you're undertaking. I'm not saying to let fear dictate the situation and to hold you back. I'm saying prepared for the downside and be ready for it. And you still go, okay? You still go, all right? You got to go. You still got to go, all right? Number 3, time horizon. Today versus tomorrow. You got to look at today versus tomorrow. Don't chase the quick looks and the quick wins. Aim for what's going to grow over time, okay? Today versus tomorrow. Is this something that can pay off in 3 months, in 36 months? Are you going to see steady incremental progress with a possible explosive growth, possible exponential growth? Sounds pretty good, right? And you've already considered the downside, the big downside, like I said, the magnitude of the downside from tip to tail. You've also considered reversibility, right? Is this a one-way door where once we're in, we're committed, okay? So maybe you put one foot in first. Like I said, fire bullets first and cannonballs. A small test first with a tripwire. We cut it off if it's not working, right? Okay? And you want to ask yourself, for example, it's like learning how to code versus cramming for a quiz. Right? Well, these days with AI, AI will help you code. But coders today know how to use AI to actually really do even more coding and to proof lines of code. So there's still really great value if you're a programmer, of course, okay? Let's keep going. Next, the next lens, number 4, base rates versus story, meaning what is the expected value, meaning what usually happens versus this story. Like I said, the optimistic story. What's the narrative everybody's telling you versus what the case studies tell you? Have several case studies, okay? Look at those. Look at the data. Look at the expected value versus the story that's being told to you right now as a leader saying, this is the best move because of this, boss, or your family saying it to you, or, you're telling you. You have your own narrative that you're trying to tell other investors. You better back that up with case studies that have real numbers, okay? And real concrete examples to back it up. Otherwise, the story is not going to, it's going to go over like a Led Zeppelin, right? It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to go over like a lead balloon, not going to fly. Check the track record for similar situations before trusting any cool story, okay? I can't tell you how many times I've been told things, this is the best idea, and for these reasons and for that reason, and you go over and you talk to someone else, and they look at you like, what? They said, what? I would never do that. Did they tell you about this could happen? Did they tell you that could happen? Did they tell you the risk with this? And you're like, no, it just sounded so good. And you're in it, so it's in your face and you don't see it. You got to get an outside expert to advise you, please. If you do nothing else, if you work with me, awesome, okay? I'd love it. It'd be great. But get someone, a mentor, a coach, an advisor, take a course. Have someone to come in, an outside expert, to advise you on these decisions, okay? Someone who's done some stuff, all right? Someone who's dealt with risk. Someone who's led organizations. I'm telling you, there are a lot of leadership gurus out there, a lot of people, they haven't led a damn thing. Okay, I'm not talking leading people like I'm an influencer. I'm talking where your ass is on the line and you're responsible and accountable for the performance of the people under you. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. And I'm going off the rails a little bit right now because I've heard it so many times. So many times people, they want to be some guru and talk about this stuff. And you look, what have you led? Well, I have 1 million followers and so, okay, that's great. When have you ever been responsible for your 1 million followers and what they do day to day? You're not. Okay? I think that's awesome. But I'm telling you, that's great. They've clearly done a great job with their marketing and content, all that stuff like that. I'm in that game too. Trust me, I appreciate it. But there's a long, far cry. It's the Grand Canyon from somebody that's actually been leading, teaching, motivating people to accomplish something and to do something that they are being held accountable for that performance. Okay? Where you can lose your job. All right? I'm telling you, that is a beatdown. And if you're in that position, you know what I'm talking about. I don't care if you have 5 people under you, you got 3 people under you, but when you're on the dime for the way they perform, everything they do or they fail to do, it's a whole new ball game besides, being a teacher of leadership. Okay? I know a lot of people that don't teach any leadership, but boy, could they, because they've led organizations of 1,000 people, 500 people, you name it, 100 people in 10 people, but in a very, very rough situation where they are clearly accountable for everything that happens or fails to happen for that situation, okay? Including in business. When you fail in business and you're a business owner, that's on you, okay? And people get crazy competitive over money and over business, over situations. So anyway, please, whatever you're doing, get a mentor, get a coach, get someone to help you, okay? I don't care if you're a new parent. Get a parent coach to help you, okay? We got a great parent coach in the membership that shows up on YouTube all the time, okay? Tim Burke, when he hops in here, check him out. He's a great parent coach. He'll help you out, okay? And so anyway, but you got to get someone to lead, teach, and motivate you. You got to get someone to help you and see things. I've done it myself, okay? So that you know when you're in a similar situation, you can check the track record. You get an outside, independent voice to tell you, yes, this is true. No, that's not true. I don't think that's good. Have you checked X, Y, and Z before you pull the trigger on this? Okay? Trust me, I wish I'd done it. Wish I'd done it many times. The times I didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. Trust me. All right? Okay. Number 5, information value of delay. Is it worth waiting for it? Do you have to make this decision right now? Okay. As I heard before, General Mattis say and General John Allen say before, no decision before it's time. Okay. And as another great general, General George Smith, my commanding officer at 1st Force Recon, who then became the 1st Marine Expeditionary Force Commander, General Smith would always talk about, I'm not going to rush to failure. I'm going to exercise tactical patience. Okay. Hugely important. If you pause a week, what can you learn? If you pause a few days, could you learn something that's going to change the situation? Do you have to make this decision right now? Are you losing out on an opportunity? Or are you letting a threat attack you? Okay? So you gotta have these 5 lenses to go through in your leadership. Okay? And I'll go over them one more time again because I think they're worth it. Number 1, reversibility. Okay? Can we undo this thing if we're wrong? Can we change it? Okay? Reversibility. Number 2, magnitude and tail risk. From tip to tail, what's the risk? What's the magnitude? What's the cost going to be? What is the absolute worst believable, not possible, not worst possible. Notice my words, please. Not worst possible, but the worst believable cost. Okay? The worst believable downside, not just the average, and then add 10% to that. Okay? Reversibility, magnitude, tail to risk, the worst believable downside, add 10%. Number 3, time horizon. Okay? Is this going to grow over time? Is this going to improve over time? Is time on our side? One of the most important things in strategy is to create a strategy where time is on your side. When time is against you, you got to rush everything. Okay? You got to rush everything. And that's hard. Okay? So if you can create a situation, this is why automatic investing, for personal finance, time is on your side. Keep automatic investing. The S&P 500, the Dow, all the things, NASDAQ, the U.S. economy, U.S. stocks, right? Time is on your side. Even in my case, guys know what I believe in Bitcoin, right? Time is on your side. In my case, I believe the way the market conditions, macro conditions are going, Bitcoin is going to prove that it's a good strategy for the long term over time, okay? So number 3 was time horizon. Number 4, base rate versus story. What usually happens? What track record is there in a similar situation before you just trust a cool story, okay? And number 5, information of value delay, meaning is it worth waiting for? Having tactical patience. Do I need to make this decision now, or can I wait on this decision and I might learn something that's going to change everything or improve what we do, okay? So very, very important, okay? Quick checklist for everybody for decision making, right? We talked about the door type. Is it a one-way door, two-way door? Can I reverse this? Can I undo it? This is one part of the checklist, number 1. Number 2, what's the worst believable downside? We talked about that as well too. Number 3, what's the payoff window? Okay, if I make this investment money-wise, what will we have the return? Will the return pay for itself in 3 to 36 months? Okay? Or is it even possible it might not pay for itself at all? We don't know. Or is this so speculative it could be exponential, or we could lose everything? Be very careful. You got to look at that. Then you go back to number 3, the worst credible downside. Okay? Base rate. Again, the base rate, base story. What usually happens in cases like this? Number 4, is it worth waiting for to learn more? Okay, tactical patience. And then some concrete examples here. We talked about ad spend, things like that. Let's say for me, I put $1,000 into advertising for a new course or new program I'm running. Okay. Am I able to move fast on this? How quickly can I reverse the decision? All these things like that. Okay. Magnitude. The worst case scenario, I lose $1,000, right? Best case scenario, I get clients and customers from it. It comes back. Maybe I set a hard cap at $300. I see how the first $300 goes. And if I don't get any results, that means the messaging is off and I stop the advertising. Okay. Hopefully this helps. Time horizon. Usually in advertising, if you're hitting home with the message, it's going to last for a few months. It's good. Okay. Info value delay, the value of delaying and seeing, what we can learn if we wait a little while. If you could A/B test on a smaller scale, $100 for 2 different ads, A/B testing and see what comes back. This little delay over 2 weeks could pay big. You pick the one that's better, you have better results. Okay. So this is a practical example on how to do that. And then always having your kill switch in place, your trigger line, where if you're not getting the numbers you need, you back off. Okay. You back off and you cancel and you shut it down. Okay. So put your questions in the chat here, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Hey, what's going on, Super Slam? How you doing? Great to have you here. That's right. Exactly, Steve. Automated dollar cost averaging, super powerful, 100%. Let's see. Any questions? Okay, we're going to keep rolling, guys. Keep rolling. So a couple things to consider, okay? Some of the core models that you're using for decision making. Again, the whole point of this is that we want to improve your core skills and empathy, okay, as a leader. And then next, your decision making skills, okay? Your decision making skills are based not just on emotional intelligence. They're not just based on empathy. They're based on hard data points, okay, and case studies. There's science behind the decision making, okay? Yes, you want to trust your gut, but you got to trust the data as well too. When they both match up, it's very powerful. When you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're afraid, when you're alone, okay, when you just lost your best friend, for example, I'm saying in combat, or someone on your team, you may not think clearly. That's why you got to trust the data as well. It's got to be both, okay, as much as you can. Now, if all you have is your gut and you got to make a decision in the moment because you're under threat, serious life and limb, you're getting attacked, then you trust your gut and you go. But in cases where you have even a little bit of time, get as much information as you can, then make the best decision you can, okay? Number one, we want to look at the expected value. That means the probability versus payoff, okay, across scenarios. What is the story for the other cases that have happened? What's the base rate, the base story that usually happens in situations like this? What's the payoff for the situation? Look at different scenarios, okay? Hugely important. One of the things we'll talk about is the barbell allocation, okay? Are most of your resources safe when you do a small slice investment, okay? You commit a small force in the military, okay? Let's say Special Operations Force or a small reconnaissance force. The rest of the force is safe to get eyes on the objective. Same thing in business. Jim Collins called this in Good to Great, firing bullets first, then cannonballs. That means we want to do a small test. Commit a small slice of your resources for the higher upside bets to see, are we getting any traction? If we are, then we're going to commit more advertising dollars. We're going to commit in the military a bigger force to seize the objective to win the day, okay? Another thing that's very important we talk about are second and third order effects. What does this mean, okay? So when you do something, when you take an action, what is the second order effect, right? Like, for example, we go in and we attack. We think there's an enemy leader in a structure, an apartment building in, I don't know, okay, let's say downtown Baghdad, okay, or let's say in Afghanistan, okay? Civilians all around. The first order effect is we go in there and we get them, okay? We get them, we kill them, capture them, whatever, all right? Second order effect, we scare the hell out of everybody around there the way we did it. We injure and hurt somebody in the process. Now we may have created some more enemies, okay? Second order effect, all right? Third order effect means even further out. It's like a ripple effect. When you throw a rock into a pond, the ripples that occur, not just the splash point, but the ripples and the waves, the concentric circles that spread out from that impact point. What are the second and third order effects? And then what is the question you have to ask, okay? So we did that. We went and attacked that guy. We got him. Was it worth it? Okay? Was the juice worth the squeeze? Was it? Okay, you got to ask yourself, what are the second and third order effects going to happen? Well, I'll tell you, let's say in automatic investing like we talked about here, right, Steve? Okay? And Joe, I see you in there. So second and third order effects. We're investing, automatic investing. First order effect is we have lower income, right? Because we're putting money away. It could be just slightly, if it's pre-tax dollars, could be slightly lower. But if you're investing in a Roth IRA, you're seeing slightly lower income, okay? That's a first order effect. And you're buying stocks, you're putting it in there. Second order effect is you're going to start growing money. Third order effect, further down the line, because you've grown the money, now you're eligible to get bigger loans, okay? Now you're eligible to maybe to start a new career because you have enough of padding of this IRA, this retirement fund that you no longer need to work this primary job. You can do something else. So second and third order effects. And then what? And then what's going to happen as a consequence? Okay, you have to ask yourself that. Next, regret minimization. You want to do a future self-test. What decision that you're making now will keep options alive? I want to say this again, all right? If I make this decision now, am I keeping options alive for this very important thing we care about in the future. Because if you make a decision that's non-reversible, okay, a non-reversible decision, you burn the boats, you're all in on this, okay? What options are you killing off for the future? You must do a future self-test. Please, if you don't take anything away, remember this. Before you make a major decision, sit down and ask yourself, pretend you have a friend with you. Write it down. Future self-test. When I make this decision, what options am I killing off for the future? When I don't make this, what options am I keeping alive? Or if I make this decision, what options am I creating for the future? Okay? You need to ask yourself that because we're trying to minimize regret. Regret minimization, okay? Next, the OODA loop, okay? This was originated by Boyd, okay? Lieutenant Colonel Boyd, I believe, created this. The OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, act, okay? The OODA, or 70% rule: orient very fast and take action as soon as you have a 70% solution. You need to out-tempo the competition, okay? It's almost like in social media, we talk about posting, just post. Don't wait till it's perfect, post, okay? Do the best you can, create, get out there, provide content. If you keep on polishing it up, taking so long, you're probably going to let your followers and your viewers down because you think that they want something so polished and so good. But a lot of times people want something, unless you're creating Star Wars, right? Okay. Whole other story. But then we still want Star Wars to hurry up. Remember with Star Wars, like 3 or 4 years between movies. It was nuts. Okay. So the 70% rule, OODA, 70% rule: observe, orient, decide, act, 70%, go. Okay. You don't need to wait for it's perfect. And then you want to iterate, adapt, improvise, overcome, adjust on the fly. Make the decision once you have a 70% signal and go, okay? And the last one of these, the core models, is red teaming. Doing the pre-post-mortem, or we call it a premortem. I call it the pre-post-mortem. Red teaming, okay? You want to make sure that you get people you trust to shoot holes in your plan. Take a look at what your plan is, shoot holes in it, okay? Make sure these people are objective, you trust them. Make sure they've done what you're trying to do. Please don't expose your strategy, your plans, your dreams to people that don't understand it, don't have a clue, and could really mess up your psyche as well too, and your leadership mindset, okay? You want to red team it with people that are invested in this, and some who aren't invested, but some who have been there and done that on very similar things that you can find, okay? To ask the right questions, or even someone you just see who's very analytical, very bright, or has good common sense. Ask good questions. The premortem, what this is that we want to imagine we've failed. The business has failed. We have failed. You have failed as an individual. Whatever it is that's important to you, you're trying to accomplish, has failed. And then think to yourself, why has it failed, and how have I made it fail? Or ask yourself this: what's the fastest way I can kill this thing? What's the fastest way I can destroy my business? What's the fastest way I can destroy my business division? What's the fastest way I can destroy my unit? Okay? And then what are the ways and what are the things that'll lead me to do that? And then backwards plan from there. It could be 3 or 4 different ways. Protect against those things. Okay? Protect against those things hugely. All right? All right. Put any questions you guys in the chat. We've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes here. Hopefully this has been very helpful and useful for you guys. I want to get some questions right now. Let's see what we got in here. And again, what we're talking about today, we're talking about what are all the ways that you can make sure that you don't get replaced by AI, okay? How do you improve your leadership to the point where you are not replaceable by AI, okay? So improving your skills, your core empathy skills, is one way as a leader. Number 2, improving your judgment. Your judgment is so, so important, okay? And again, I think that this is, empathy is obviously hugely important, but judgment involves more than just empathy. You're making your decisions not based off just empathy, but off data, off case studies, okay? Off getting quiet, off risk analysis, off probabilities. All these things, off having great mentors, coaches, great advisors, okay? But at the end of the day, you have to be the one to make the decision, all right? So throw anything you guys have in the chat right now. Let's see. And if you haven't liked, please like the video, subscribe. If you're not subscribed and you're watching, I appreciate you being here. And please remember to add comments in after the video is done, after the live stream is done. Put a comment in there for me. It's going to help the algorithm. And the more subscribers we can get, the more high-powered guests I can invite in the near future as I start doing interviews and bringing people on here. But first of all, I got to figure out the technology and make sure we don't have any mess-ups. Let me see. Was I leading many people in the military? Yes, Lisa, I was. So I reached up to about 600 to 700 people, about 650 people at my battalion. And I was a battalion commander in the Marine Special Operations Command. I commanded 2nd Marine Raider Battalion, 2nd Marine Special Operations Battalion. You can see the sign behind me over here. And so I led quite a few people. I built a company from about 16 instructors and 40 students to 450 students and 75 instructors. That was the Recon Training Company and Sniper School. We had a $60 million military construction project still at Camp Pendleton today. And I led a Marine Corps infantry company as well. Headquarters and service company I had the Maritime Special Purpose Force in combat, Marine Force Recon Platoon in combat as well, Marine Infantry, all those things like that. So I've led quite a few people, but at one time, about 650 overall. And very complex, and it taught me a lot of lessons. Some of these were really hard lessons, I'm not going to lie to you. They were very hard, okay? Supply, logistics. I learned it's not enough to just know how to do the tactical operations like the raids and the attacks and the offensive maneuvers. You have to know how to do logistics, supply, maintenance, all the things that don't seem that sexy, right? All the super cool things we see on TV. Someone had to get that gun to that guy and those bullets, and they had to be the right kind and it had to be clean. Parts had to be replaced on those weapons. Someone had to fly those cool dudes to the place. So this is all the stuff when you go up in the ranks, you learn that I didn't know when I was doing the direct action raids as a Force Recon platoon commander. That was like, everything you see on TV, like, at night, blowing doors in, all those things like that. And, but then as you gain rank, they teach you that that's not enough. You need to be able to set up multiple teams doing that now and big organizations to move from one place to the other, supply them, support them, train them, take care of them, feed them, equip them, pay them, all these things you have to learn. And, so I learned quite a bit. What's up, Jenks? Hey, Nick, what's going on, man? Let me see. It could be useful to give some thought to what type of things are likely to get AI replaced. Yeah. Well, it's funny you should say that, Nick. Let's go ahead and roll into that. What's going to get AI replaced? Okay. Yeah, let me see. Let's talk about some. Nick, now that you brought that up, I've got some other notes here that we can talk about. It's a great question, Nick, by the way. And I'll read it out loud for everybody. What could be useful to give some thought to what type of things are likely to get AI replaced. Example, support operational people doing low value ad at a bigger company will probably be first to go. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. I'm actually prepared to discuss that. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. In the next 12 to 24 months, AI is expected to replace the following things. Okay. And then we can reverse engineer it from there. Sound fair? Sound like a good plan? Okay, let's try it. Number 1, operational dashboards and forecasting. Okay. AI is going to take this over all the way. Continuous KPI monitoring, demand, sales, forecasting, pricing and supply chain optimization, and variance analysis. Okay, this is citing a report from McKinsey & Company. Okay, so from a consulting firm, but this is likely what AI is going to replace in the private sector. Again, continuous KPI monitoring, and it's going to come to an individual who's running the AI. They're getting faster decision, faster monitoring, faster results. Okay. Next, management reporting and comms. So first drafts of board decks, investor updates, policies, job descriptions, meeting notes with action tracking and ownership. This is from the Harvard Business Review. Okay, so I got a lot of good sources here too. But resource allocation outflow routing is another thing. Performance management co-piloting, okay? Spotting patterns and pipeline health, all those things like that. Customer churn, why it's happening, scenario testing. We talked about scenarios a little bit as well. Agentic AI, task-specific AI agents embedded in enterprise software, all those things like that. So going back to your question, Nick, and what could replace the AI, I just feel like if it's doing that, it's freeing up a human to do more human things and actually interacting with customers and clients, doing client service, managing and leading teams of people that are running AI agents to do things. Then also, you got to make sure that there's no hallucination going on. That's a very real thing. Making sure that AI is also being held accountable, because as you guys know from doing this, from using AI, put in the chat. But have you ever seen, AI make mistakes? And you're like, why are you doing that? You yell at it a little bit. What are you doing? You're supposed to be smart. Oh, I'm so sorry. I messed that up. And they fix it. Crazy. It gets lazy. And just is like, yeah, I don't know if it only reads every third word. And yeah, we don't have to pay attention to him. He's not mad. He's happy. And then they go ahead and give you crap. So pay attention to that. Definitely. But I do think, Nick, what it's going to be is that, and again, it's important to give probably greater thought to it, but just off the top of my head, and you know this stuff really well too, but I think, I just think the AI probably will not get replaced because people are expensive. When you hire people, as you hire people, you're talking healthcare, taxes, employee taxes, all these different things that you're paying into for employees, even contract workers, right? Employee taxes, all these different things that you have to pay as an employer. AI, you're paying for the service, right? They don't call out sick, any of that stuff like that. So that's why I don't really see it. I just see that business moving faster, things getting done faster. And I see that people being in a position to manage AI assets and agents while leading other people to actually work with other people who are decision makers and clients, customers, closing business capture, all those things like that. And then also managing relationships and managing the employee-employer relationships as well too, business relationships, leadership relationships through empathy. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, I believe it. No, I believe 100%. And those ops people are going to do it faster now because they're going to be having back-end AI on everything, right? So again, I don't see AI replacing everything. And again, I'm going to say this, qualify it, in the next 12 to 24 months. After that, all bets are off. Honestly, it's moved so fast. Yeah, exactly, Nick. Exactly. Yep, I agree with you 100%. Yep, 100%. Okay, any other questions, guys? Throw other questions in there. Let's see what we got. Right. Yeah, when the integrations in enterprise software doesn't suck. 100%. I agree. It's funny, like I was saying, when I tell Gemini to create a thumbnail for me and I want it to write the word unstoppable, I swear to God, it's never spelled unstoppable right once. Gemini, if you're listening, you've never spelled it right once. It has one P. If they put one P, I'm like, why only one P? And I tell it what to do, erase all the text, write it. It's like, I did it this time. It tells me it's spelled wrong. And then I listen to these people, AI's taking over the world. Well, not tomorrow. It's not. That's for sure. Okay, Benham, are you into homesteading or farming? Oh, nice, man. That's awesome. Good for you. 3.5 acre homestead currently. I'd like to be, brother. Steve, I'd like to be. That sounds awesome. I'd like to get a big old piece of land and get some horses and all kinds of stuff. Solar panel by solar. Yeah, amazing. How cool. That's fantastic, man. Good for you. Garden by garden. I love it. I hear that's a really great way of life too. Nope, but I'm not doing it right now. I'd love to get something like that someday though. That'd be great. For sure. Yeah, so again, the whole point of this stream today and this live is to make sure that we are adapting in the age of AI to use it to our advantage to get ahead, okay? Because again, the whole point of this podcast and this channel is to help you to upgrade your life, help me upgrade my life, right? We're all in it together. We're all trying to get ahead. And so I'm trying to present to you guys the best tactics, techniques, and strategies in leadership, in life, to be able to get ahead in your life. And again, AI is a real thing. It's here to stay. Let's learn how to use it. Let's learn the best ways we're going to become more valuable as leaders, okay? and the core skills of empathy and judgment and really learning how to make better judgment calls are going to be so huge going forward, as many jobs will be eliminated. I'll bet it is, Steve. I'll bet it's the best insurance for sure. Totally, Nick. It is. It really is. It is useless at some things for sure. Like it tells me, I'm just a language model. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? I told you to do this, draw a picture, or do this. And so it'll give me excuses. It's crazy. All right, guys. Well, if we don't have any other questions, we're at about an hour and a half here. And my voice is going to fall off. So great being here with you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Letting me do what I love. As always, if you're interested in working with me, please email me at Ben@benpappas.com. Go to www.benpappas.com, my website. All the links are in my bio for my Instagram, my TikTok, my YouTube. You're on YouTube with me. What am I saying? But on everything, my website. You guys are interested in my Ferocious Optimist community, the Ferocious Optimist movement and membership. You can click the link in my bio, go take you to the landing page. It'll cost you nothing. It's $87.99 per month, virtually risk-free. You can cancel at any time. So check it out. It doesn't cost you anything just to go ahead and take a look at it, okay? And if you're looking at trying to do rapid transformation in yourself as a leader, in your team, in your business, okay? I do inspirational speaking. I do keynotes. I work with sales teams, leadership development, in management, you name it. Okay, C-suite executives, I've done it all. And so just send me an email, Ben@benpappas.com. We'll talk about it. You can DM me on Instagram as well too. Give me a little comment in YouTube and we will connect and we can talk about your situation and how I can help you and your team break through to the next level this year. Okay, guys, as always, it's such a pleasure to be here with you. And again, check out all the links in my bio. If you're interested in the membership or community or one-on-one coaching with me, you can apply for a no-fee 1-hour coaching session with me there. And as I always say, make yourselves better, make the world better. Have an amazing, amazing Sunday and crush it this week and go get yours. Let's go. I'll see you guys next time.